Welcome back to Out of the Rough. I'm with Patti Handy, the author of How to Ditch Your Allowance and Be Richer Than Your Parents. 9 wealth building tools to make a teen rich. Now let me just tell you right now, I want my children to be much more successful, much happier. I want that success for them. I want that inner calm. And don't we all for our children?
We do. I remember as a kid, my mom told me, other than loving you, taking care of you, the best thing I can do for you is teach you how to be independent.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true.
So let's start with building some techniques in building. Where does it start with? And I know I believe in an allowance, but your take on the allowance is a little bit different.
It is. I don't believe in allowance, and I'll explain why. Allowance is something that generally is given to kids for doing their chores, doing their responsibilities. As far as I'm concerned, that should be part of running the household. You know, I don't get paid to pay my bills and to go grocery shopping and to fix my bed and, you know, take care of my son. We are a team. We're a family. We do things together. Having said that, kids don't know how to manage money unless they have money to manage.
Right.
So I do give him the opportunity to create additional income by doing things extra and above his chores.
Let me an example of a 7 or 8 year old. What would be something above and beyond for that?
If he doesn't normally or she doesn't normally vacuum, let him vacuum.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, they're old enough that they can vacuum.
Oh, wait a second. I normally make my kids do a lot of things. I better be careful, right?
Yeah, exactly. No,
but yes.
Things like that, you know, run the vacuum around the house and I'll give you whatever you think is fair.
You know, I was driving to get the car washed, and I think we pay $7 for one of these car washes, one of those drive-through car washes.
Right.
And it's not my passion to wash a car. And I said to my kids, I said, how about if I pay, you know, Amy, I'll pay you $2 and Jack $5 to wash the car because I'm going to pay it anyways. What do you guys say? And they thought about it for a minute, and they're like, okay, let's give this a shot.
Perfect.
And it's a little bit above and beyond. They can spend that money the way
Perfect.
they choose.
That's great because you wouldn't normally, you normally would, like you said, go to the car wash, and that's not one of their chores.
Right, it's not a normal thing they do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, okay, they've had an allowance, they're a little bit older now, you know, 15, 16. I believe in responsibility for a car. But let's talk about their first debit card or their first ability to spend money. Is it cash only, or what? Talk to me about when debit cards are right and what your comfort level is with that.
Debit cards are right as long as they understand how they work. A lot of kids will just swipe them and think that there's an endless supply of cash in there. And if they do that, they get hit with the $35 overdraft fee. It's important that they realize they have to keep tabs of what they're spending. Every time they, you know, go to the gas station, run it through Starbucks, whatever they're doing with it, they got to write that down in their register, make sure they know to the penny what they have at all times. Because oftentimes they think if they swipe it and it went through, oh, they must have money in there. Not the reality.
You know, I like the idea of tracking it because you're going to be mindful.
Absolutely.
And if you're tracking it, you're going to be mindful. Well, shoot, should I spend $4 on that, whatever that was?
Yeah, this may not be a good use of my money right now. If I don't have the $4 or I do have the $4, what else do I have coming down the road? And yes, stop and think about what you're spending.
There's also a thing in your book you talk about, which is give your children so much money for back to school, and then have them make their own choices.
Yeah,
you know, because they can learn from those choices.
Right. There's a limited amount of money to go towards back to school supplies or clothes. Let's use clothes. Let's just say $200 for conversation's sake. Okay, here's $200. You can go out and buy 3 pairs of pants and 2 shirts, or you can go to the, you know, shop it, compare, get sales, go to the TJ Maxx, the Marshalls, the Ross, whatever, and buy 5 pairs of pants and 6 shirts, or whatever it breaks down to. And if they realize that money's all theirs, and at the end of that, it's done for the year, that's all you get, then they're in control of what they spend. If they decide they love these pairs of jeans and they're $75, okay, that's 1 pair of jeans you get to wear for the whole year.
Right.
Is that what you want?
Right.
So it gives them the responsibility and the accountability for that money.
Well, nowadays there's because of the recession we're in, there's opportunities to get stuff at discount, and I think that consciousness, that awareness. One tip that was important to me, my father taught me, is when I was a young man. He says, you can get a car and I'll pay for half, but you got to save up the half first. So I worked and I'll tell you what, I love that car.
And then he matched it?
Because I had to do that concept, the 401k concept, with getting instead of just handing it to them, hand up instead of a hand out.
And you took really good care of that car, didn't you?
Loved it. Yeah, thanks to my father. Great lesson I learned. Last but not least, we'll touch upon a little bit of credit. You know, inevitably, your son's going to go away to college.
Right.
And between the freshman and sophomore year, 33% of all freshmen have credit cards. It's like 70% of all sophomores have credit cards. Are you going to let them get one? And what are the things they need to look out for?
If he knows how to work with it, yes. And he will know how to work with it, I can tell you that. But yes, it is important to start to create credit for yourself, because your credit score is important for you to get through life. So he needs a credit card to gain credit, among other things. There's a prepaid credit card you can do. You fund it up front, and then you're limited to whatever that is. If it's $300, he can just spend that, and you're done. But it's a good way to kind of get your feet wet, depending upon what your kids are like with their money. If they're super, super conservative and always been very good with their money, you can probably give them a credit card and let them go with it and understand you will only use this and pay it off in full. You will not carry a balance on this.
Right.
If you carry the minimum or you just pay the minimum, here's what it's going to cost you, and you educate them.
And try to get a credit card from a bigger financial institution or credit union. I love credit unions too. Bigger financial institution.
MasterCard, Visa.
Yeah, or credit union, absolutely. Right. And there's so many more tips in the book. You go into credit, you go into buying a house, you go into so many, writing a check. Wait a second, are there going to be checks when my kids graduate?
You're supposed to know how to do it, though.
Exactly. Well, Patti, how to ditch your allowance and be richer than your parents. 9 wealth building tools to make a teen rich by Patti Handy. Thank you very much for coming in. Yes. And you might want to pick up a book. Where's the website they can do that at?
Website is teenscashcoach.com.
Yeah.
Teens with an S.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to jump to a quick break, but when we come back, I got Ryan Metro, and we're going to talk about your computer system and how to keep it the most secure possible and some solutions to your IT challenges.